So this is Dr. Ramos, and I'm going to try to help you with this first case brief here. This is Liberal versus Estrada, and what you have is Estrada's the cop, Liberal is a citizen who's pulled over, African American male, and this is a case where he's trying to sue Estrada and Menlo Park PD for illegal stop and a variety of other things, and he's going to the court to ask if he can do that, because most of the time officers have what's called qualified immunity, and they're able to not be liable for their actions, but it has to be based upon the fact that they were acting reasonably. So let's start to look at this particular case and see what we can do. So the first thing is in our case, we're always trying to look for how we can fill in and use our particular format, and we know that we have 7 things that we're looking for. So just to give you a reminder, the first thing is that we are going to look for what the name of the case is. So in this case, the name of the case is going to be Liberal versus Estrada right here. And just for the purposes of this exercise, I'm going to put a little note over here and say that that is going to be the title. And so that would be indicated with the Roman numeral 1 and title, right? So I'm just going to mark this up so you can see it. And then, the next thing that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to look at some of the other stuff in here. What is the actual type of case? And the actual type of case is it's a civil suit, which he's saying basically that there was an illegal traffic stop, there was use of force, prolonged detention, and the consent to search was not valid. So if you want to think about it, number 2, type of case, and this is just what I do. I would be writing on this case brief so that I can find the parts that I need. So the type of the case is going to be a combination of these sorts of things that are up here, and also look right here, it says it's a civil suit, right? So we have the name, we have the type of case. The third thing we have to do is extract facts. So we have a lot of facts here that we need to look at, and I'm going to let you do that pretty much, but you have an African American male. He's in Menlo Park. He is evidently being pulled over by the officer. Officer testifies later that he was pulled over right here. Officer testified the purpose of the attempt stop was because he had tinted windows, but those windows were rolled down, so that's kind of shady already. So these are some of the areas you need to look at. They also pull him out of the car. They have the hands on the holstered gun. He's asked to be stopped. They do DMV check, all of that squared away. Officers begin to arrive at the scene. There are a total of 7 officers. Can you imagine that? So you got to feel pretty much intimidated when you have that many folks there. The plaintiff, who is Liberal, starts to do what the officers say, get out of the car, and one of the officers grabs him by the wrist, pulls him out of the car, spun him around, and put him in handcuffs. And he says that he felt he was under arrest. That is an important fact for us here. Another thing is one of these officers turns on a tape recorder, which was unknown to Estrada. And Estrada starts to go on this tirade about, you shouldn't be hiding in the dark. You parked your car in the dark, and I don't give a rat's ass about who I piss off. I don't care about complaints. I have no desire to be a sergeant. He's saying some pretty ignorant things, and even the sergeant's saying, "Oh, you guys are in a dark alley. That's ignorant." Then they start talking about busting a cap on somebody. These are all things that we need to look at as part of the facts. So you need to take all of these things that we have here and use them as part of the facts. Okay, so I'm going to just put a little note here that you have a variety of things here with facts that you would need to extract. Oh, excuse me. And that would be 3 facts, right? A whole bunch of things that have to look at in here and extract it. I'm not going to do that for you. You need to work on that. That's your critical thinking piece. So the next thing is, what are the issues? And I think that if you simply look at, first of all, here's the rules, right? So we're talking about when we're putting together our case brief, we're talking about how we can put together the rules. We're going to go back and look at the next thing that we're going to look for, which is going to be issues and then rules. But think about what the issue is. If they're talking about traffic stops to be lawful must be supported, force used during the detention, detention was long, and the consensors, make that into 4 questions, and they should be questions. So I would be thinking about, for my issues, it'd be something like, was the car stop legal? Was the force used appropriate? And you can use your own language here. Was the length of the stop justified? And was the consent search a product of coercion? In other words, did he not feel like he was really able to do that? And issues would be our number 4, right? So Roman numeral 4. So the next thing I need to look at is what the rules are, and here they are. Here's my rules. So I don't really have to do anything here. I can just simply put a Roman numeral on this and move this over. 5 is going to be our rules, right? With an S, right? And then we want to go down and get into, so now we're at 5. 6 is discussion. Well, if you look down here, all this area here, this is your discussion area, but you need to summarize this, okay? So this would be 6, and we'd be talking about discussion. And all of these 4 areas, you're answering your 4 questions. So you want to be able to answer your 4 questions as you're looking at this, and move this over into your formatted case brief. And then your holding is right here. He was asking to sue him, and they talk about right here what the holding is. So this would be number 7. So this case is actually pretty easy after you break it down. And in this case, the court said they affirmed the trial court's ruling and remanded it back to trial. In such appeal, the appellate court must assume the plaintiff's version of the facts are true and then determine whether or not there are any triable issues that they could go with. So, this is like something that's of import, and you can use that there. And really, that is the whole case. So, as you're looking at your case brief format now, you want to just simply juxtapose, which means to move the information from one area to the other. And if you think about the case writing, the case brief template now, this is what it should look like. And I'll move it over so you can see it. Title, type of case, facts, issues, rules, discussion, and holding. And you guys have all this stuff. So you're going to simply move the information from here to here. And I think that's all you need to know. And I don't want to go farther than that. That's plenty long to help you out. And hopefully this helps you with this case. And please get it turned in on time.